It.
Yep. So everybody should be able to share screen and mute and unmute themselves and everything else.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have a little presentation that I wasn't planning on doing. I was just going to be like a bump on a log and sit here and comment or say, yes, no, that sounds great. But I mean, I can present that, but I want other people to go first, especially people that need to get off of here soon or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I just want to say I think it's great that we're doing this because I think the community really needs to come together. One of the main ways that humanity has been trampled on, let's say, is that we're constantly divided. And I think where we're at with the soul trick, or as I prefer to refer to it as, um, I think this is like the cherry on top of the pile of dog crap, right? I don't think there's much further to go with it. So I think anyone that's in this information or interested in this information or trying to explore the solutions to this, I think it's very important that for once, in human history, we come together. And I was really excited when I saw that there was going to be an opportunity to speak and to come together like this. I can't stay for the whole duration, but I'll be here for a good couple of hours. And I just really want to reiterate and underpin that point that, we've all got our things going on. And as Carrie said, off camera, the attacks are so intense right now. These entities, this system, I think it knows that we're onto something, and we're getting bombarded left, right, and center. Not only just out there on social media, but also in our personal lives as well. I'm sure you guys have had things really challenge you. And I just think that, yeah, whoever's listening to this as well, if you're on this journey of exploring this information, let's come together. We don't profess to know all the answers. Um, we're just exploring these solutions and these ideas, and hopefully we can all come to some kind of agreement as to where we think we need to be headed. And yeah, I just really would love for us all finally to come together and not be divided in this point in time, because I think we're at such a critical point um, in this journey, let's say. So I think that was the main point that I wanted to get across. So yeah, just thanks for everyone being here. Thanks for everyone listening to this. And hopefully today we can come up with some ideas and, yeah, some concepts that may resonate. And we're not all going to agree on everything, but that's okay. Doesn't mean that, we hate each other or we're going to block each other and all this stuff. We see so much of that nonsense out there right now. So yeah, it's good to connect with everyone, and yeah, let's see what we can come up with today. That's really what I wanted to say.
Awesome. I'd want to say same thing. Thank you for all of you being here. This is what I've always wanted. And with Devil's Playground 2 channel, Nigel and I were going to try to do this like a regular, bring channels together. And my health was just not reliable for me to commit to that. But speaking of Devil's Playground 2, Harry cannot be here. He is sick. He lost his voice. So anybody that was coming on to see him, he can't make it. But he does have some presentation ready. So hopefully we'll see that at some other point. But yeah, just thank you for hosting this. I don't know how long I'll last. I'm struggling pretty bad right at the moment, but I'm trying to smile and I'm facing the next level of some serious health challenges. So I'm gonna try and hang in as long as I can.
What if you don't mind me asking, are the challenges that you're facing specifically?
I have multiple injuries to my neck through freak accidents. Um, three of those were not in a car, and then like within a year, nine people hit me from behind, just like sitting at a red light or whatever. So my neck is basically, I don't want to say destroyed, but they were kind of in shock when they looked at it and they told me, can't have surgery, don't know what to do for you. You need to hope for a miracle drug or something. So I think it's contributing to migraines, but it's making me dizzy and my ears buzzing and my eyes flashing. And my arms, they said I'm going to lose the use of my arms, and they were surprised I haven't yet. And those are going numb right now, or like it's driving me crazy, the vibration. So it's hard for me to focus. So I always mention before I start something if I'm having a really bad day, because then I get attacked like, you're not clear, you're not saying this, blah, and it's like you can't win either way.
Can I just say,
So
Anne-Marie, I said to you in Telegram that your mind, it's very unique because it doesn't work in like a linear way, and I think that really complements the information. So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself on that front because the information's still really key what you're coming out with. So yeah, don't worry too much about that.
thank
Have
you. Don't
you
make me tear up on here.
have you
Because I've been like venting lately because I felt so horrible and I've been getting so many attacks from listeners, which I think is super disheartening, right? When it's not just other channels, it's the listeners. I mean, that's been going on, but it seems like everybody's just on the attack. And it's just so hard to be here to begin with. And then all of you are on here taking your personal time. You're not getting anything for this and just coming on because we care, right? We care about but anyway, it made my day when you said that because I was like, okay, maybe somebody's getting, I don't know. I don't know.
ha-
Anyway,
have
let's move
you
on from
have
me,
you
but
have you worked with any um massage therapists or anybody that does any kind of, healing or manual therapy or rolfing or anything like that?
yeah, I've been,
Yeah.
well, I was a massage therapist. I've kind of been the gamut.
Okay. I kind of
I've
figured that
even
would
done
probably be the
hands-on
case.
healer, but they really have to rebuild. There's multiple things going on with it. So it's the bones and the discs and spinal
Mostly the
stenosis.
nerves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to hit nerves. So I think that's why my ears going and my arms are going. So I feel like I'm gonna shake or something right now because so I think I'm just at the next level of it. So I'll try to last as long as I can and make sense.
Cool. Yeah, I just asked because I've just gotten into doing that. I've just had a very wild awakening, I guess, to healing and stuff like that. And I guess I'm pretty good. I've been doing it just for like 5 months. And the lady that taught me and a couple of people around her that have been doing it for a long, long time are just really amazed at what I can do. To me, it's just kind of, I don't know, I'm just doing what I'm doing, but
I'd
um,
be willing for you to try because the
I know, right?
rolfing,
Like, yeah, I feel like
that can
I'd like
really
to,
like
yeah.
stretch the muscles or whatever.
Yeah, because especially with your arms and I mean, all that stuff, there's so many, just the attachment points where the muscles attach. If they just loosen up, it's amazing how much it changes, especially with the numbness in the hands. Like, I've had so many people that I just where it was able to, I don't know, I don't even know what I'm doing really, other than
All right,
massaging a
message me
muscle.
later.
But
If
yeah, right. Well, where are
Don't
you
I can
at?
get to you, I will.
Yeah, where are you at in this?
I'll tell you later.
Okay, sure.
Undisclosed. I've had two people show up at my house and find me.
Oh wow. Well, I wasn't looking for an
So
address,
I
just
have
like maybe
restraining
a
orders
more
out.
generalized location, perhaps even. But yeah, that's fine.
United
We can talk
States.
later.
I'm in the US.
Okay, cool.
I'll tell you later.
All right, that works. Yeah. So Brandon's still not here, huh? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, they had to go get him a tire and go to town and have it changed. And we live
Oh,
about 20, 25 miles outside of town. So
oh,
it's
okay.
a good little deal. And then on Saturday, everything here closes down. So um, I wanted to, Anna Marie, that I think there's a lot of people that are being attacked in the neck and upper shoulder area. I think, and I'm not downplaying your accidents and things like that, because it sounds like there is some structural things going on. But I'm real big into the spiritual aspect, and anywhere they can find a place to get in and dig and poke and prod, I think they do, even to the point of trying to uh, have humanity as a whole adopt a posture of a downward gaze, as if we're in a permanent
Yeah.
bowing position to them. And so I think along with that comes the curvature, obviously, of the necks and the spine and the head. But I got my my grandson smashed my head in the back of the Suburban. We have the lifty uppy tailgate thing, and I felt like my head was between my hips. And
Ugh.
I've had trouble ever since then with my upper shoulders and neck and back. Normally it would just zip right back, but it's that whole trapezoid muscle. Now it feels like the muscle is actually tearing off the bone. And so I
Mm.
definitely empathize with you on the pain, but I've talked to other people, and there's a lot of pain in that particular area. And obviously, when we're doing uh, podcasts or on the phones or whatever, we're all gazing downward at that. And
Yeah.
so posture is one of, for them, they will see it welcoming when they arrive. And so I definitely understand you there. I think also what ties into that is also these the frequencies. They're changing the frequencies. I can feel
Yeah.
them at night, especially from my cell phone. I feel my heart palpitating. I'll feel anxious or more nervous inside. I know lately, almost everyone I've talked to is starting to have a lot more of what I would call thought insertion, especially things of a more negative nature. And so it's something that I wanted to be able to kind of encourage people to find themselves through this and be able to stand firm and push those things back out. Uh, I don't say to destroy and kill and whatever them, because the nature of this world is that the thing you consume, you kill, you also consume its energy, or you release it uh, onto the self, and it just opens up other things. I think for us, it suffices that we stand and make a stand and push those things back. And I think that once we all arrive into our full power, that will be much easier to.
Yeah. I think that's a weak area. That was interesting because I'm like, why the neck? It's a good way to take you out because it's
Yeah.
affecting your thinking. You can't think straight. And Tony knows this too, like the areas that they go for to attach a lot are the neck, between the shoulder blades, low back, like weak areas where entities want to attach to. So,
Well, they
but
amplify, don't they? That's what
yeah,
they do. They get in, they amplify your emotional wounds. So if you've got like an abandonment wound, they'll hook in onto that, turn the volume up on it, so you get constant voices. If you're with a partner or you're always thinking they're going to leave you or whatever. So whatever your wounds are, they amplify them, and then whenever you get any like physical issues, they get in on that and they amplify that as well, and they make everything 10 times worse than what it is. But the body, the human body. I just did a podcast with Mark Devlin, and we were just talking about really, we're told that the body is so incredible, it's this amazing thing, and all this yada yada yada. But actually, it's incredibly flawed, and it decays, it gets old. When you look at the word cell, it's like a prison cell, and then when you start getting issues and back issues and pain and like I mean, if we're talking about a creator at some level, why does the pain of everything have to be so intense? Why can't it be, all right, let's say pain is a warning system. Why can't, like, if you got a bad rotten tooth, why can't it just be a little bit? Just so it's like, okay, I need to sort that out, whatever. But why has it got to be excruciating and then affect your head so you got a headache and then you can't get out of bed for days because and it's just all interlinked, and like the central nervous column is quite a, quite an evil thing when you think about it, and when you consider that these entities want our energy, all the pain and suffering that we have to go through with these bodies. It's and the constant maintenance. It's always, you've got to eat 3 times a day, then you've got to poop and wee, and like, do you know what I mean? It's just like it runs you. You don't like you're not running it. The body's running things here, you know. But we don't look at the body that way, probably because it's quite depressing. um no one really wants to think of it like that. We want to, you know, it's like the new age. We want to believe that the body's wonderful and amazing and all this stuff. And um you know, it really just it's been one of the biggest learning curves for me, and the biggest kind of grief that I've had to go through is thinking, well, you know, don't get me wrong, I love my body, but at the same time, I see it for what it is, and yeah, it seems to be like one of the most perfect mechanisms to kind of harvest loose if we're looking at this place as kind of like a farm and we're the cows. So yeah, my heart goes
It's
out to
one
that.
big nerve, right? We're just one big freaking nerve
Yeah,
that can
yeah,
cause pain.
yeah.
So
I
But
would
I
think that
wonder if
I would think that this body is a reflection of the body from the side, which would be more of a perfect body, right? Because the design of the body is really super next level, but there's back doors built in, like what you're talking about, and like
yeah,
the chakras and things of that nature, which are like, why do we have those? You know what I mean? Like it's literally kind of like because the design of it is next level. Like when you get into looking at just look at the nervous system. It's crazy, or the musculature system. It's outrageous all how it all works together. So it's definitely I say divine, but it's just next level. It's beyond our comprehension of how this thing was put together like this. But then I say, like, we're in the mirror image world type,
mm.
right? So this would be the mirror image of the
The
perfect body.
copy. Are
Right,
you
the
talking
copy,
Yeah,
about
it's
the
a
the?
copy.
breakdown, the one that runs you, the one that needs all the work, the one that's easily loosed, right? Because you can, I mean, think of all just emotions in general.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I don't want to give up my emotions because I'm a very emotional person. I do want to keep them in control though, but like with no emotion, they don't have any control over you.
Mm.
You wouldn't be sad about shit, then who cares? You know, you'd be way more logical, Spock like about it. And I think they wouldn't have you wouldn't follow their shit. It's just like,
Yeah.
But maybe there's a
yeah,
key in that is that breaking away or that disconnection from identifying oneself with the body, number one, and number two, of uh, being in love with the body, because the soul is extremely attached to the body. But what I surmise is that there's a spark within the soul that is from an entirely different category altogether, that bears no attachment to either, but it's maybe in a comatose type state. I don't know. I think some of us have the sparks that are indeed wakening up and seeing that the nostalgia that the soul has for this body and this realm, because it comes from this realm, is the one of the main things that we're going to have to learn how to cut off from. Doesn't mean we hate it, because that again is an energy that ties us to that thing,
yeah,
but it is something that I think is going to be necessary, that at any given moment we will be able to leave this body behind with no second thought, no remorse, no anything. And for me, I kind of quasi practice kind of unzipping out of this bodysuit, this garment of flesh, which actually in the book of Genesis, the word used meant blindness. And so it's a trap in and of itself, as far as I'm concerned. I don't loathe it. I don't hate it, but I'm not in love with it. I try to take care of it, because for me right now, this is my house and they are not allowed in my house. Those entities, those things that be, um, the frequency flyers that they're using now to use frequencies to give them greater access, even in this 3D world, from the overlay of the fourth, astral type realm into this one. And so I think that's kind of where we're at right now, because their goal is to wear us out. The easiest way is to do it through the control panel that we're all covered with, which is this body. That is their control panel. It gives them information, it harvests information, it remembers information for them. So they don't have to have a little bank on the side that has all the memory stored in it. Everybody's body stores information in every single cell. And so they are able to glean from that the things they need to exist. They are not alive. You can't kill what's already dead. This is in my opinion, a dead world. And those of us with those sparks within are the ones that contain the true light, the real life. Uh, it, we are in these containers for their benefit, because once they figured that out, then it was just a matter of time and multi layers of encapsulation in a variety of different bodies, of different structures, different frequency fences that we're all captivated in. And those things can affect memory, they can affect thinking, acting, the whole thing. But I think it's nostalgia for this place and nostalgia for these bodies that will hinder our ability to completely exit from this zone here, I
Yeah,
guess.
you were
So
saying
I
nostalgia.
hope
I was
that makes
thinking
sense.
sentiment, but yeah, that was the right thing. Because I figure I've probably been sucked back into this place a bunch just by like,
Oh, me
because
too.
I feel like I'll miss it even. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, I'm gonna miss like, because what is it like wherever else? And if, I just try to tell myself it's just like this. It's only perfect.
Maybe you miss the real. Maybe you miss the memory of like the real way that things were. Maybe that's
Oh
what you.
yeah.
That
Well,
could be
maybe
it.
you
I
remember what it's
we're
like to
not
have a
from
body
here.
and then you don't have one, and you're like, oh man, I can't really give someone a hug. I can't really jump.
I think you can hug each other in the astral. I think not. Well, we want to get out of the astral as far as I'm concerned.
Astral's the
Right. So
second
that's what I'm
layer.
saying. So
Yeah.
when we get to
Yeah,
wherever it is,
Whatever it's called, right?
right,
yeah.
Yeah.
supposedly no body,
Exactly.
right? So I
I'm
think we'll
fenced
miss
off
having a
from it.
body. I
Well,
just
you know what? On the no body thing, I think that is deliberate misdirection, because these bodies here we have being quote unquote copies, they are facsimiles of something far greater that I think that we probably entered into this world with, not the one here, but at higher levels. As to them, it looked like light or looked like energy, which is a low form of essence. But I think where we are is essence. But essence to essence would be just like me talking to you and seeing face and skin. You will be able to interact with each other when everyone is of that same type of essence, if that makes sense.
Can I just add on to something that you mentioned there about the body having memory? Because something happened to me this week, and I want to run it past you guys. This is one of the things that I wanted to run past you and actually the listeners. Um, is that one of the questions that um, people or all of us are trying to get to is like, why are we here? And a lady on one of my videos said that we created this world and it got hijacked by this AI. So we were actually the creators of let's call it the real. And when I read that, I got a big tingling
Yep.
up my body. Like literally, I'm not joking you, my whole body tingled. And I live in Mexico. It's not cold here. And I was like, wow, why is my body doing that? That's really bizarre. And it was almost like I don't know if that concept resonates with you guys. And I might have it totally wrong. But I did think it was strange that my body did that. And I do think that humans in our natural state, we are the creators of worlds. I mean, we can create worlds in the astral just by thought. Again, the astral being a trap, we could do that in the real as well. So
But
maybe
they're
that's
also
maybe that's why we are here. Maybe, oh yeah, to add on what she was saying, that we created this world, it got corrupted by this AI, and we've come back in to uh you know to sort things out, so to speak. And that ties in with what you were saying, Anne-Marie, about that there are people or souls that have chosen to come back, and they've with the new age concept, they've distorted that and called everyone light workers and star seeds, where you just sit there under a tree singing Kumbaya, and everyone's out of the game, right? Because they're all love and light and no action. And I thought, the more I've been thinking about that, the more that concept seems to sit with me. I'm not saying it's the ultimate 100% truth, but I'd
no, they
like
tell us that. They
what
tell us that. I mean, it's history. It's the Clash of the Titans, all of that stuff. I mean, they're putting it in our face that look, you did this and we took over and
Mm,
suck it, right?
okay, I need to watch that film.
The Tartarian idea, kind of. There he is.
So
Right,
I
like
feel like
who built all that crazy cool stuff, and
oh,
then
there's
look what we
there's
have now.
there's journey points.
Yeah, here we are. Hey, brother.
I saw a long time ago that we created, like in the real, we created worlds to experience, and then they copied those, and that's how they tricked us in. Oh, it's your world, and it's like, no, it's not our world. But I haven't gone any further with that, so that's interesting, Tony, that it could be, because I've seen that as well, like the real world's still there, that we like pure spirits have created, or spirit. I don't know how you describe the real here because we're limited, but maybe it's just the overlays over it, the AI over it, and it's still here, but we have to shut down all these overlay mind programs we're caught in. Or is it an actual separate copy that they've sucked us into, like sucking you into a computer thing? But yeah, totally on board with that too.
Well,
So
I think that's why he had the reaction because it resonated so very deeply. Because I mean, when you were saying it, because I do believe that, I could feel my own eyes lighting up. If that sounds
Really?
weird, but I think there's a lot of truth to that. But my perspective is that we were asked to come here to help bring a dying creation into some form of existence. X is, former ises. And so we brought our isness into here, which we are life. We contain the true life. They do not. They are cut off from it. Uh, and whether it's through chaos or down to Yaldabaoth, and it goes back into a lot of these, but some of the oldest stories that I could find uh, had to do with that, in that we were asked to come and help, and we were allowed to come and help. And the rule was this: there were two rules. One was that we would be able to go home and come back and forth freely at will. And the second rule was that we would have no one to rule over us. And what happened is that after we started creating things, they had the patterns and the ideas, and we brought them into reality because we contained enough of the light energy from the true mother from the other side and brought it into this place where these things were sent, I guess, to die, being cut off from true life. They were allowed to continue to exist, but they had to do so in their own deal. I think we came here to try to feed it, come up with a way to make it work and continue. And what wound up happening is, I think everything that's here that's quote unquote beautiful was from us. I think we did that. Most of the ancient texts of the first earth was that it was barren, it was dry, it was covered in briars, in thorns, and you couldn't get anything to grow on it. And so I think when we brought life into this, that whatever it was that we did, just by being who we are, we brought life into this, and we helped bring about a lot of these beautiful structures and would build things. But there is always, in this, where we're the composition, they are the decomposition. Everything here decomposes, whether it's music or frequencies in a composition of that nature, or something. It's all about the breaking down. And so we were trying to take the pieces and build back up. And what we've wound up doing is feeding and providing a feed source for these uh, dying entities to continue to live off of. And I think that for me, my thing growing up was always, we can always make it better and always go back and do, your best job and good job and go back and we can fix this. And I'm at the point now, we can't fix this. It's not ours to fix, just my opinion. I think that we have probably, that's been one of the big carrots dangled, is that, oh, you need to go back and fix it. You can do this and stuff like that. I think maybe our task right now is to realize it's time to go home. I think there have been numerous departures before us right now. Maybe some of us have come back to try to help awaken the ones that didn't get out, the last reset and the last and the last. This has all happened so many times. It's just part of this rotational frequent flyer um, system here. But
But
man, I think there's so much truth in that.
it also answers another question, because another question that people have, that's pressing on people's mind, like where is God, right? Where is God? Why is, people feel abandoned because, it appears that we've just been left here and whatever with all this evil. But if we created this, this is our realm, and we are what we've been waiting for, in respect to, we are the ones that need to do what we need to do, rather than waiting for some deity or that kind of thing to sort of come in and intervene, as many people would like. So for me, that theory, or that concept, it answers a lot of questions. So thanks for your feedback on that experience that I had with that piece of information.
I thought it was
Yeah, I think
great.
I think it fits with us. Like, it's not about fixing this place because we bring the light here, we bring everything here, we're visualizing it, we're being told to visualize what they want, the type of world they want. But if I think we're more than just a battery, we're also the visualizer or the projector or the perception. So we're perceiving this. And if we keep saying what I'm perceiving out here, no, it's not about changing that. It's about saying, no, I'm not accepting that, what I'm seeing. I think we're going to go back to the real. But I kind of, that's one of the things we can do, but I kind of fit that into, it fits, everything you're saying fits with what I'm seeing. So it's not necessarily, because it's a mind program, it's a perception. I don't feel like this place is real. So it's not about changing it. It's about, since we are real, but it's going to dissolve
Yes.
if we are, like Tony was saying earlier about, you remember the real, so we don't have to know what that is, but as we keep saying, no, I'm not accepting this, no permission for what I'm seeing, because I think the spirit is in that soul body hypnotized, being told to visualize itself in this world. And that's what Jonathan was talking about, like that body that we're the mirror image of. But one of you said a copy, and that was interesting, as I thought, okay, that's interesting, like the mirror or copy, that like brought a whole nother level to it for me. But anyway, I don't want to take over. But I do have a presentation that is hopefully super short, but maybe will spark some conversation that relates to timelines, getting out, like all the stuff we're talking about. But I don't know
I'd like
where
to.
Journey Points wants to go.
Can I mention something real quick?
Go ahead.
I was
Certainly.
thinking, I had an idea recently. Maybe so maybe in the past, this was originally some kind of realm that we created, and maybe the realm was united, so-called Tartaria, with that advanced technology, and maybe we had abilities and stuff, and then they got so advanced in my idea that they tried to create a portal, and they opened a portal to the negative of this, the opposite realm, like a mirror negative, and thinking what is in the realm, I thought the moon itself is the same size as the sun or whatever, and it looks like it has continents the same way our realm does. So I was thinking maybe the moon is the portal they opened that these inorganic life forms came through, and they hijacked the realm, and they keep doing resets that when the civilization gets advanced enough technologically and with gnosis, and so the false light could be the moon portal, and so you have to advance your own true inner light to follow out of the matrix back to the real, something like this. But I don't know, just wanted to throw it out there.
Interesting. Wouldn't that be, though, like Tartaria, wouldn't that still be part of the Matrix story? Because you have
Yeah.
the false light and the light, like, because I think they keep retelling the stories here of the fall, which was their fall, the AI fall. It's their story, but they're making it our story. But that is super interesting. So yeah, there's so many roads to go down and explore and try to uncover, isn't there? It's just unreal in here.
Yeah, the sky's the limit with your imagination at this point. because
Yeah.
once you well, I mean, just Mandela effect. There's that. So
That's
I
so
mean,
messed up.
there's that, and to
Well,
me,
but it's
it's
getting
like
worse too. It
so
keeps
that's
new
what
ones.
I keep that in mind. Like when he says it's far past fixing or whatever, and I agree for the most part. But there's an element of me that's like, well, we could just wake up one day and go outside, and it's like perfect, and we would like be like, oh yeah, it is like this. But don't you kind of remember how it used to be all different? And didn't this building used to be a bank, but we don't use banks anymore? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
because we can look at stuff now and go, I know that Cuba was not that big. It's just it wasn't where it's at, and it was not that big. So I'm not saying that the land actually moved, but every map that was ever made, right, changed. So uh
Places are moving. I'm telling you,
clearly
they're
this place is
moving.
a fluid reality, and so it could fluid into a good way, right? I mean,
Right.
it's it's
Get it
it's
as
not
close
like
to the real as possible because
yeah.
so I guess I would like to just veer off real fast. I have visualizations on my channel. Apparently, not that many people want to go do them, but they are for that thing to visualize this place how we want it while we're here. I don't want to be in this body with all this stuff. I want something to come up. Give me some healing technology. Give me something. Get like let so that we can keep going. I think we need to be visualizing what we want as much as possible, like an active visualization so that we are not so much at the mercy of this place or well we just got to go along with it and oh this sucks my neck is screwed up and I'm never not going to be able to work. I mean I think we have to keep saying no, I don't give permission for this because they're blocking. We could have a lot better scenario here. They're blocking the natural energy, all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, all their bullshit tricks on TV and the lies and all that wouldn't be necessary if we weren't like on the edge of winning, which we are. It's just they've dumbed us
Yeah.
down so bad. If all the food and all the TV and all of their direct assault on our consciousness went away, dude,
Yeah.
we would own this place.
Well,
Where's the power?
the reason I mentioned the moon so much is because it seems a lot of people get attacked more psychically around the full moon. Every full moon, like yesterday, I had a terrible stomach ache, some kind of psychic attack. It happened last month on the full moon too. I'm trying to defend myself, and it's just like
Same.
this is ridiculous, man, ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%. I was getting attacked emotionally. Like I feel like I got shoved into a dead zone or something during the full moon. Totally.
You're right, Jonathan, what you say. I mean, when you look at the lengths that they go to, and this is what I think we all really need to understand, because sometimes we can all feel quite powerless and, the things that are going on, but look at the stuff that they do to keep us down with the poisoning in the food, the water, the air. That's just on a physical level. You
Right.
look at what they're doing with, on the energetic levels with etheric implants and all that kind of stuff and overlays and it's just monumental the level of hijacking on all levels, and that's without all the mind control and the news, the media, the newspapers. It's just like 24/7. So they're obviously to want or to need to do that to someone. You've got to be very, very scared of them, right? And I think that's what they are. I mean, these things are parasites. That's the way I've always viewed them. That's the way we should all view them. They know where the power is. They can't create like we can. They're insanely jealous of us. They know who and what we are. And their biggest trick is to keep that away from us, to tell us constantly that we're the parasites. There's too many of us, yada, yada, yada. We need to be wiped away from the earth. We're destroying the planet, all this stuff. So we walk around, oh, I'm just little me. What can I do? I've got no power, when actually it's the opposite that's true. So I think that's such a key thing that we need to understand is where the power lies, and each one of us, each individual one of us, is so expansive in our power and our energy, and we really need to embody that and yeah, just step into our sovereignty.
Yep.
100%.
That's just gotten me alone, though.
What do you mean? Like you feel lonely, isolated, or
Oh yeah, there's 1 in 100 people like us who give a shit and know what's going on, right?
sure? Yeah, I get you.
I'd say 1 in 100 is a bit of a nice estimate. I don't. If that's the case, they've all taken a vacation
Well,
from my area.
So it's the
that's our
time of
problem
joining
too.
together.
But
We're all
here,
here.
Give
We're not
benefit of the
alone.
yeah,
doubt.
no, we're not
Yeah.
alone. That's true. It's
We are
Yeah.
all here
very
right
few and far
now, so
between,
we
man.
are not alone.
Yeah, the
We
further
got an
down the path of
audience.
truth you go, the fewer friends you have.
Because
Yeah.
there's different
You know,
levels
it's
to
like,
this as well. You know, you got people that get the political realm, the 3D level of it, if you like. You know that governments are corrupt and all that stuff. But the people that are talking about this level and what I call the cherry on the pile of dog shit is like you can count them on one hand, literally. So it becomes even lonelier. So I totally get what you're saying there. So this is why these podcasts are so good. It's so
Oh
great.
yeah, that's why I'm here. Thank you so much, guys.
Well,
Yeah,
but I
I
think
think this is a sign.
it's a necessary evil, if you will, because if we weren't afforded all the time to ourselves by ourselves, would any of us have been so undistracted and caught up with the day-to-day 9 to 5, the whole feeding the quote unquote system with a CYSTM? Uh, would we have been able to more so easily break from it, step outside of it, look back at it, and say, "What the heck am I thinking?" For me, I wouldn't have. I would have stayed in it and would have loved every minute of it. But once I had, HE double toothpicks to go through, um, I started questioning absolutely everything. And the moment I took the vow and I made the statement to myself that I wanted the truth, I didn't care what it was. I don't have to like it. I don't have to, it doesn't have to be in my favor. It doesn't have to anything. As long as I know what the absolute bottom line truth is, for me, I would go through absolutely anything to get there. And so, and I have gone, as have each one of you guys. And so we can choose to look at it as things that we come down under, or we can step out of it for a second and see that for me, I'm trying to learn to look at it, and I'm not successful all the time. But I try to flip the script and look at it as apparently you're confirming that I am a danger and a threat to your system and your everything here. And so for me, that confirms I'm on the right track. And it has enabled me to use my weapon called the NO word that they made so much fun back in the Reagan era when oh, Nancy Reagan was doing the big Just Say No campaign and was ripped to shreds for that. I think that was a little secret that got out there of how powerful that word is. They made it sound so naive and silly. But these entities know that we, in our purest form, are truly naive because the things that exist here do not in where we come from. And being oblivious to that, they were able to entice and coerce and persuade us into each of the lower levels, because for them it had to have been done not because it was quote unquote imposed upon us, but because we agreed to it at some layer and state, because we did not have the entire picture of it, because those negative frequencies, backward thinking, evil things, if we want to call it that, didn't exist where we come from. So we had no earthly idea. So being easily controlled and manipulated in that manner, they saw us as a cash cow to be their ticket to extending their existence that they know is limited. And so that was what we were here. We built the world for them. We came here to help them. So the things that we built, we're the creators because we have newness within us. All they can do is go along with whatever their finite program is and keep repeating it with a few little tweaks here and there and gather the information that they take from us every time that we get recycled back through, or however all that works, because they're constantly gathering information, and that's how they can change every little thing and tweak the programs, with each time they do a reset. And that's why I think we're crucial. I think once we remove ourselves from this equation, it collapses. And that's why they are so hard up to find alternative ways to empower themselves. I like to refer back to things that in my former life, reading in the Bible, but there's a passage in Isaiah that says that they have found the source of life of their own hands, meaning that they have made something by their own works to sustain their life or to continue their existence herewith. And I think that's the crux of where we're at right now, is with the whole download your mind into a computer or live aboard and live in a machine world. I think that's what that's referring to. And so that's my little spill. Sorry.
Well, I think it's the time to join together, though, on a positive note. It's the isolation of all of us is ending, and it's the time for joining together. And this is an example of it right here. So,
Oh, I totally agree. I think the only thing with the physical, everyone in one spot, is that it would make it super easy to take out all of us at one time, which could work for their benefit and against them as well. Because once our life energy is gone, I don't see that they will, none of this will sustain itself. Not for very long. There'll be like a weaning down or a winding down, and then
No, they need our pain and suffering. They don't want to kill us all in one shot.
yeah.
They have they don't want to kill the goose, right?
Yep.
Not until Christmas.
Yep.
Right. They want us to take ourselves out. That's why the targeting, the mental mind games, the impositions and dreams, the insertions. That's why they play this MK Ultra game, is because they want us to exit before we're supposed to. And I think this is my own personal opinion. And hey, everyone, I'm sorry I'm late. This is Brandon. I think that we are set when it comes to timelines. We are set up as Trojan horses, kind of the ghost in the machine, if you will. So they can control us and get us to do this, and they can make us homeless or kick us out of a country or make us broke and poor, the angels of poverty and all that stuff, to get to a point where we say, I'm done. I don't know. I'm at my wit's end. I'm going to kill myself, or I'm going to self-exit. And I think that tells you right there, they don't want you around for something. As much as you want to leave, there's something that's going to happen. We can call it the removal of the sacred archetypes from Angelique's work. We can call it activation from like New Age. We can call it the event. Something's going to happen where either we're all like taken out at the same time, and not taken out meaning like we leave the body, like, or we go home of this duality system. I just want to throw that out there.
That's
Yeah, I love
where,
it.
that's where there's all this like assisted suicide that seems to be
Correct.
coming
Correct.
now. Right? That seems to be becoming more and more prominent.
It's going to be mandatory in Canada.
Mandatory, did you say?
No, but it's
Well, it seems
available
like
in
it, though. Yeah,
Canada as
Canada's
the
crazy.
government doing it.
Ah, right. Sorry, I
They
misheard.
they call it MAID, and if you have if you have no desire to live, the government will happily put you in the pod and kill you.
Yep.
So I just want to get a general consensus on this, that we're all on the same page on this, because a lot of people ask me on my videos and groups that I'm in, why, if we know it's a soul trap, why don't we just and we're out of it? I think you kind of already answered for me, Brandon, in what you said there, but we're pretty much saying that it's not a good thing to do that. Just putting it in very simple, basic terms, it's not good to do that, because there is, and I know, Emery, you talk about lining up with your app man. Is that what we're all thinking there, or does someone have an opinion for the opposite, saying, well,
Well,
we know that this is a soul trap. Let's why waste our time getting old and suffering and die, with all the stuff that comes
no,
with
there's no opinion for the opposite, other than to say that I think that part of the reason you shouldn't kill yourself is because we've entered into a contract. And when you kill yourself, you break your contract. And now there's a problem with that. I don't know how exactly it's going to work, but I know everything in this realm is based on a mirror of how it works for real in the other realms. And that's why we're all tied into birth certificates and all this weird shit, because it's contractual and you have to agree to all of it. And just because we don't remember what we agreed to come here, we did. And that's why I think that's just why there's such a stigma around suicide. And that's why when
You
people
can
do that,
break
like
you can
hauntings and
break the
stuff,
contracts. You can break the
Yeah,
contract anytime you want. You're the operant power, man. You're from
Absolutely.
beyond here. You don't have
well,
to
both
agree anymore.
two parties have to agree in a contract, and when you've been screwed and you say no more contract, that puts
It's
them in
deceptive.
a fraudulent position if they try and continue.
Well, look at the
It's
word
it's all
con
deceptive.
contract. Con is telling you it's a con.
sure.
But I just
Or an
want to read.
agreement. Well, you can say an agreement. You've made an agreement to come here.
Yeah, yeah.
And there were probably terms that you
You can
agreed
agree to
to.
leave anytime. I
And
mean,
if you
the
break those
samurai
terms,
had
then you've broken those terms.
seppuku, which was death with honor. If they lost in a battle, they couldn't stand the shame of defeat, so they would
Sure.
take
Well,
themselves out, and they believed
beliefs.
it was the
Oh,
most
dude,
honorable
beliefs
way
are as
to
long
go
as
out.
the day is. I mean, there's everybody has
Yeah,
different
but
beliefs on stuff, so that's okay. I'm just saying my personal thing. I don't think you're supposed to. I've seen too many instances of like hauntings from people right after they kill themselves. They're like stuck there,
True,
and
true.
Yeah, that's the whole point. They just want to get you stuck. They're gonna,
yeah,
if you can take
exactly.
yourself out, they're gonna go loop and you're reincarnated back in. Only you're probably gonna get either be a ghost, like you're saying, or one part of you. You're probably gonna get split up, and
And
then you're gonna get uploaded into this next virtual, which is the whole point of all this. The whole point of everything right now is this splitting off of these timelines. So they want to get you on the timeline where you get uploaded. So if you kill yourself, thank you. Thanks for doing that for us so we can
yep.
reincarnate you back in. So it's a way they don't want you here, but they can keep you here. That's what I think or what I've seen. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
Well, it does.
otherwise, if we go at our appropriate time that we chose, then we're going to be able to line up and get out. Um, I don't know. I don't
More
know. That's
readily, I
just what I've
think.
seen.
More
Yeah, and
readily.
again, I'm not saying, I'm not suggesting people should. I just want to make that
Sure, sure.
disclaimer
Oh yeah.
because everyone will jump on it. Oh, don't you say, don't say this. No, I'm not saying that.
Not.
I'm
We're
just
saying no, don't do
asking
that,
the
please.
question. I'm just asking the question that so many people ask me. I get it all the time. Well, why don't we just leave? We know what this place is. Let's go now then. So it was good to get all you guys' opinion on that. And yeah, I think these are very challenging questions that we're asking here. Like literally, they are very, very difficult questions, but I think we need the answers to them, and we need to, as Carrie said, we all want to get to the ultimate truth of things, and that means that we have to ask the most challenging, sometimes upsetting questions to get to those answers. I think so. So yeah,
Well,
I don't know if anyone wants to elaborate on the whole killing yourself thing.
I
Well,
had a
I do for
friend. Well, I had a friend once who was like all about it. He was a schizophrenic. That's what he told me anyway. And so I have a different. And I think we
Being run
understood that
by
that
ex-
just meant his brain worked a little differently than the normal person. He said he'd killed himself a bunch of times, and he
Right.
remembered it all. He's like, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm like, bro, don't talk like that. And he's like, Nah, dude, you don't even know. It doesn't matter. None of this shit matters. It's all. It doesn't matter. He's like, I've killed myself so many times in this place. You don't even know. That's how he would talk regularly. And
Right,
I'm
but it
like,
does
well,
matter because he keeps coming back. And
yeah,
those are the
right.
voices, the schizophrenia, that's the voices telling him to do that.
Sure.
So
Or
I
he
think
absolutely.
it's
saw
a,
stuff. I mean, he would see beings and dude, his stories were next level. But
well,
I was
I
like,
think
well,
we're at this point. We're at this what do you want to call it, choke point or whatever, where something's happening. We're doing something. Something big is happening where we're going to be freed. And so they are working overtime, even in desperation, and don't even care to get us to take ourselves out or to leave early or to whatever. That's what I think. And because then they still have control of us. Because guess what? Oh, you died. They grabbed you right away because you're killing yourself. You don't have a plan. You're just, I'm out of here. And then they just grab you and you're right back in and your mind wiped and then you're starting all over again. But only this time you're not starting over. You're uploaded and you're on a freaking loop, which I'm going to talk about. If either here or I'll just do a separate video, but that's what I'm seeing. So I don't know. I mean, that's my opinion and I'm open to it changing or whatever, but I just think it feels totally wrong. Do not take yourself out.
I
But
think that is the biggest thing with anybody online. Is anyone open to change, or are they just running their own script?
yep, change is the only constant.
I think Sonia wanted to say something. There was a
Yeah,
message down below.
tear it up.
Sonia?
Whoever wants to say anything, just jump in.
Hello, Sonia. Earth calling Sonia.
Hell realm to Sonia.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Mi è partita la...
the feds have got her.
Mi stanno chiamando, io non volevo parlare.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you there? Go ahead.
Come on down. Brandon, did
Yep.
you have some kind of presentation? Or where did you want to go with all of this? Because I know you wanted to get right into
So-
the meat of it.
Yeah, and I think that you guys are hitting on the stuff I wanted to hit on for sure. I was going to go
Okay.
kind of in depth on the whole cube thing. I have a model. This probably isn't the best time to do it because I would be doing it kind of on the fly. But it kind of takes that because it's so multi-layered and tiered, and there's levels to it. But it goes back to the they talk about the sacred timeline or the splitting, the reset, the two different timelines. I see 6 and 9. 6 being the lower timeline, the red one, the negative, the inversion, the fatal E, the Metatron. It's all the same thing.
Right.
Because if you were to put a point of a pen on a paper and draw a 6, and then keep looping down, you're just going to create what looks like an upside down tornado. Okay, that would be the negative stuff I'm talking about. And then if you put that point at the very center of the paper again, and you draw a 9, and you keep doing that upwards, you're going to create a tornado upwards, and that would be your Christ spiral. That would be your plasma, your electricity, your Elohim. That would be your positive timeline. All those things. It's all the same shit. And so what that creates is a figure 8, literally. Oh, hey, Jadana is in the waiting room.
Oh,
and
I
so-
literally this is all that some of the stuff I was going to talk about. You're reading my mind. Go ahead.
Okay, so check this out. So if you were to draw a square, and then beside it to the right, you were to draw a 1, and then beside that one, to the right, you would draw another square. Okay, that can mean a number of things. So you have the cube below, which is the Borg cube, the black cube, and you have the cube above. That would be the golden cube. That would be the New Jerusalem. That would be the New Age, the New Cage. We've seen all that stuff. It's all the same. It's just the vernacular is where we're getting mixed up. But when I look at a cube, a 1, and a cube, that's a 414. And that's what they talk about in Revelations is the 144 that they're so worried about. Okay, so if we are in the inversion, clearly everything is based in decay, life eating life, entropy, all those things like Jared likes to talk about. Okay, so we know that that's a 4. And the one above would also be. So the way I look at that is 144 down here is the inversion. The opposite of that would be 441, which would be the Christ one up there.
Era iniziato, ma in un'altra parte.
And then, so then the third option, well, what would that be? Because that's the neutral option. That's the straight and narrow path. Well, that would be 414. And the character Jesus, the true man that was actually like us, that they usurped, talked about the Father. Okay. So when you have 414, that's D-A-D, dad. And I just think there's some parallels there that they don't want us to know about, mixing all the various concepts. Like I said, I can draw this, but when you do that, it looks like a figure 8, right? And then I thought, okay, so that represents the infinite system they want to call infinity. Well, Kronos, who is a Greek god, had 3 children. Zeus, which is Jesus, or Hail Zeus, that'd be the blue timeline spiral. Poseidon, he was more the neutral one, going against the gods. And then you had Hades, who controlled the underworld. It's the same thing. And this I can tie this into, I don't know how many of you guys have seen Mariah Polondakis' video about trigger warning. And she talks about there being three places. There's the pleroma, which is like Carrie talks about, which is the true, the place where we actually are from, where everything just is. It's boundless. And then you have the secondary matrix. Well, that would be the golden cube. That would be the top of the tesseract. That would be the false light. Well, then the third matrix is the tertiary matrix, the underworld, the heavy density. And that would be your 3, 6, and 9.
Wow.
So with that being said, and what Anne-Marie says, and I pull a lot of information, so I'm trying to piece it all together to make all the concepts make sense. We talk about visualizing our own timeline. Well, I visualize us popping out of here, like in a blink of a twinkle of an eye, we're gone. I'm talking, when I say gone, I mean we're back home, because this isn't home to me. Like what somebody was saying, like it feels fake. It feels like pointless. But I think what we're doing in getting these podcasts, these books, even though people gripe about books or readings or whatever, websites, Patreon, we're giving a message that cannot go away to the ones that are left behind. And then that ties into what the hijacking message that Dolores Cannon was talking about with the 3 waves. And I can also tie that in with what Martin over in the UK talks about with he says that there's going to be an exit point coming up, which we all feel like that's coming, and we're probably the first wave. Then the second wave comes 7 years later. Well, in that 7-year period there, the reign of the Antichrist or whatever, tribulation, all that stuff, there are going to be people that wake up because we're gone, and they'll be like, oh, Tony was right. Like, but where's Tony? Or where's Brandon? Or Gordon, all these people. And the messages we put out are for them. Because I think what I'm finding, at least, and Carrie and I talk about often, is how we're getting mixed up. What was the phrase you used, Carrie, if you're still there? We use vernacular. Like, we're getting caught up in the vernacular. We're saying the same things, but we don't realize we're saying the same things because we want to assign one meaning to one word when it has like 8 meanings. Are you guys following?
Yeah.
I know that's a lot. It's like a big freaking mouthful, but.
Well, I'd like you to fit into what I was getting. But I don't know when you want me to talk.
Anytime.
I'm just being pushy about it because I feel like crap. So
you're good.
So I'll try to just get through this whole thing really fast. I wrote it down, and then I'm interested in either trash it or expand on it or whatever you want to do with it. But these were things that were coming into me. So and it's the same thing, putting pieces of the puzzle together. It was actually spurred by watching Tony's video with Mark Devlin, and also some of the stuff that you've sent me, Brandon, with that book. So I'll just let you fill in the blanks. But the first thing I thought of was the Tower of Babel when I did a video on this several years ago, and Babel and all this, and that I thought it was a gathering of spirits. It was us. I think it might have been a first attempt to try to get out of here the first time we woke up. Anyway, this has nothing to do with anything. These were just thoughts that led me in. And then I was also thinking about, as I was trying to write this down, when we click on something, you forget, like when you walk through a doorway, it's like going into another time zone. It's like, why did I come in this room? I forgot. It's the same thing when I turn on, like, even just my phone to record. It's like, okay, I turned the phone on, now I can't remember. It's almost like they're putting you in other time zones. This has zero to do with what I'm going to say. I don't even know why I'm going into it. But anyway, and then this was for Tony. Because I was trying to think of another word. It's not astral travel, because I'm not leaving my body. I think it's important we don't leave our bodies. But when I go into a removal, are we bilocating? I don't know. Somebody brought that up, that bilocating might be a better term for it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I think there's all this stuff going on with time. This whole place is running on time. And this was probably 2000, I don't know, 13 or 14. Back in the days when you went to somebody's, like the old Facebook, where you went to somebody's page to read their stuff, what they're doing. And then somewhere along the line, we stopped doing that. And I was on some other platform. It wasn't Facebook. I don't remember, but there was a satanic church that opened in New York. It was the first one. And this guy, I think, was totally possessed by the main entity running this place. And so he had all this crazy stuff on his wall, I guess, or whatever. And I'm scrolling, and it's almost like it was, in the Matrix movie where they show the curtain of code. It was almost like that, because it sounded like a crazy person, just all this babbling. And I was like, I could see the whole thing as I was scrolling. I was like, oh my God. And all I remember from it was that Satan, or whatever you want to call this place, AI, whatever, what they were trying to do was move up 2018 to 2016. They're in a huge rush because they ran out of time. So that was what I gathered from that. So moving on from that into the analemma Am I saying it right? I don't know. The figure eight. So
Yeah.
that is, you've seen that on, I'm sure on somewhere online where people have mapped out the sun moving through the sky and it makes a figure eight when it's on delayed time. They just take a bunch of photos and it's moving in a figure eight. So, the sun loop, okay, so I'm going to come back to that. So the golden age, the dark age is what's going on right now, which is that loop. So we're in the golden age. Now we're in the dark age. Now we're in the golden age. And it's just repeating loops. And I think it was back in 2021, I talked about the timelines splitting and that there was likely loops of the golden age and the dark age going on. And then Ashiana Dean's information started coming out, which you mentioned, Brandon, of the Christ spiral and the Metatron spiral, which to me were the same thing, the splitting off of these two timelines. One's going to be dark ages, one's going to be golden age. And I was like, we don't want either one. They're just going to loop. So anyway, I kept saying, why can't we just create our own timeline? Why do we have to choose one? I don't like having to choose. So, so coming back to, I gotta turn my phone off, sorry. So coming back to the sun, oh God, I hope my notes make sense. An analemma, a spiral. Okay, but they're also dark age, golden age loops. We should make our own. Okay. Then recently out of nowhere, this Hopi prophecy came up and it was from like the 1970s. It's resurfacing. And the reason people are looking at it is because they're predicting a purifier to come. And they show the natural timeline, which I think is what you're talking about. And then up here, they show this abnormal timeline where these controllers in the world, and he shows the Nazi symbol too, which is interesting. It ties in with the sun here in a minute, but how they are taking us on the wrong path. And then we're going up into this jagged timeline. This is the way they drew it, their prediction. And that is going into transhumanism, all that. And then there's this connecting line with this purifier here that pulls us back down to that original timeline, which to me could be that original matrix copy. But anyway, let me try to keep going here so it makes sense. So there's a purifier coming in that's going to wear a red hat or a coat. So all these people think it's Trump and because of his MAGA hat, and that he's going to take out the people that have been causing the torture and leading us to that wrong timeline. And then they show the split in the timeline that we can go back to the original timeline because of the purifier or get pulled to the jagged line of the AI timeline where they're heading us toward. And that's into transhumanism, which fits with what I saw of us getting uploaded into the next virtual, and or what Tony's saying, like people killing themselves, they get recycled back in, they get uploaded to that virtual. And what that does is, well, let's just keep going. So Trump is now saying, this is interesting, Trump is now saying we're going into the golden age and that I'm moving you into the golden age. So do these characters know the script? I don't really know. All I know is that I had seen several years prior that we needed to get him back in because whatever he was going to do, it's not good or bad or whatever it was going to create stepping stones for us to do what we need to do, which is to which I got more clarified on, which was either to take this rogue system down, get out, or both. And I think that's an individual thing, and it fits with Brandon, what you were saying. You showed me that video from the book. What is it?
You're talking about Can You Stand the Truth?
Can You Stand the Truth? So where she talked about the same thing, and it was like, whoa, where there's people that have been trapped here for a really long time, maybe even aspects of ourselves that got disconnected from our soul. That's the whole key, got disconnected from the soul, stuck here through these resets. So we're coming in to get them out. But if we go this other route right now, okay, I don't know if I'm going off on a tangent here, but we have the figure eights.
Are you saying that Trump's here to save us? Because that
No, no, He,
film like
but
today.
he's going to actually be
Disappointed,
instrumental.
Mr. Put a microchip in your brain, Elon Musk. I want a social
Right.
credit score. As
Okay, don't say too much because we're on YouTube. Well, I don't know what they'll censor. No, he's going to pull us back to that original timeline, knowingly or unknowingly. Neither one of these timelines are good. They're both spirals. But that's the better one to be on because the other one were just completely uploaded. And I think on that other one, we're just going to loop in a linear time circle of the dark age. So one's the dark age, one's the golden. So
But
he's taking us on.
you realize that he's already said that he's gonna implement in the digital ID. He's already said that in one of his speeches.
Right. I'm not saying he's good. I'm saying he's going to be instrumental in pulling us down there, which is where we need to be. Hang on a second. I'll get to that. Sorry. But each reset is one level. Okay, so this is kind of what Brandon you were saying. Each reset is one level up or down because of the spiral layers. So the when you draw like a cap, like in cursive, an L, that's that figure eight, but it's not a figure eight that's locked, it's open. So you keep, I was gonna do it on like the whiteboard, but that's what's going on, is it's a spiral, but it's this kind of spiral where the dark ages are, I think, a circle spiral. So so there's it's layers and levels. So it's virtual layers. Here's the next virtual, here's the next virtual. So we don't want to be on either one of these, but we have to be on the one in order to survive long enough to do what we are here to do. So if we go that direction, we get uploaded into the next virtual, the bad direction. We get separated from the soul and stuck here. Those that have been stuck here and those coming in to get them, I mentioned all that. So this repeats again. And I'm hearing other people say this out there too, but so then we come in to get them because once you get separated from your soul and uploaded, you are looping in the linear loop in the dark age. Okay, so let me move on. I think we've come in close to the split off of the figure eight. And we want to go on that golden age timeline to split off, let's see, so that we can maintain the soul connection and get out, or create our own timeline. If we go the other way, we just keep looping and we get cut off from the soul and trapped. So we really have to go towards the golden age, but then so they've been cutting us off from our soul. Because if we get trapped, then somebody has to come in and get us now. So they've been cutting us off from our soul in preparation through these things in the arm, through plagues of bugs, locusts, and all these bugs I'm seeing on people's light body of people that did not get the thing in the arm. So they're working really hard to separate us from the soul, which will create the situation, Brandon, that you were talking about, where we're stuck here and we can't reconnect or get out. So I've seen those things on people's light bodies, sucking the biological out of the light body. And then I noticed whether they got the thing in the arm or they got the bugs on them, that soul no longer lines up with that light body anymore. It's like it's altered. So it leaves the soul stuck here and the light body gets uploaded. And then at some point this body dies and we're trapped again. So going back to the analemma, the sun moves in that shape. If you follow Western astrology, where people are attacking it, but it is a good map for this place. It does not follow the constellations. It doesn't matter if the stars have moved, because Western astrology follows the sun's path. And something that they notice every year when Aries comes back to 0 degrees on the spring equinox, that the sun has moved slightly. And so they believe the sun has its own path, or precision of the equinoxes or whatever. And because they think the sun's on its own path, well, it is moving, because it's not just looping at a figure eight, it's actually looping like the capital letter L, like this, And so when you put a bunch of those together, it's a spiral. The sun's moving in a spiral. So here we go again with the Christ spiral, Metatron spiral, the golden age, the dark age.
Really quick,
Can I jump
Aeon.
in?
those exact same loops are on the Mayan and the Aztec pyramids.
Oh,
That
interesting.
exact same, and it goes down and then it goes back up, and then it comes over and goes back
Interesting.
down.
That's
So
what I
that
wondered if it connected all the way around.
it does,
Can,
yeah. And
can
that's, so
I?
I just thought I'd add that real quick.
Go ahead.
No, it's a good
Brandon.
comment, Jonathan. All I was going to say is, the analemma. It's interesting. When you pair that with the infinity loop, they're both. They look like masquerade, like masks that you wear over your eyes to cover your vision. You know, like Meta is a pair of goggles you're going to put over your eyes so you can't see anything. When I see the analemma specifically, I think immediately the golden age would be like the larger portion of that. So that would be the Christ spiral or whatever, and then the smaller one would be like the negative. So having that in mind, we've heard, and I think Ashiana talked about it a while back, but like the whole 12-dimensional matrix structure. Seven, in Angelique's book, she talks about the 7 heavens and the 5 layers of hell. That would be your 12 right there. And just to throw this out there, the same thing with the 6 and 9 is interesting, because you can create, if you draw it correctly, you can create an analemma with a 6 and 9, also an infinity loop with the 6 and 9. And just to throw this out there as a weird synchronistic thing, I'm driving home from blowing my tire out, and I see a sign on the side of the highway, and there's 3 interstates. One is 69, the other one is 75, one is 3. And it's just like the weird. I know. It's like all over the place for me. But so like it's all about that 6 and 9. And then I'm just gonna throw some ideas out. There was a movie called Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and this guy goes on this quest to find the secret to the universe. Well, guess what it is? It's 42, which equals 6, which equals the negative timeline spiral that we're currently on. And this is why the reset is so important, because the X marks the spot, right? And so when you take the infinity loop and you take out the hump on the right and the hump on the left, it's that intersection point in which Carrie likes to talk about the piercing. It's the same thing. That's when I think that's when we leave. When that button gets pushed, that's when we leave. And I think, to your model that you've shown a couple of times, Anne Marie, you'll show like the virtuals, and then you'll show the light body, and then you'll show the pod. I think if you look at the figure 8, and you can literally place the virtuals in the red, the light body in the middle, and then the pod in the Christ spiral. Because I think we came in the Christ spiral, and we were like, this just comes to me. I don't know if this is true. It just feels true. That we were like, something fucked up is happening here. Like this whole like slavery and heaven crap, praise the Lord, all that. And then that we got cast down into hell through these pods. So
that's interesting. My next sentence is about Aeon, which is the god of eternal time, which is a loop. And that's the name of the player in the game where we're in the pods, Aeon. And then I think the dark age is the whatever. But I'm almost done. Sorry, because I wanted to ask you, is if we're on that golden age timeline, I'm thinking that's where we can create our own timeline then, or jump off and get out. I don't know. But I'm going to just wrap this up real fast. Sorry. So going back to the people that got disconnected from their soul in previous resets that we've come in to help, some of us, and then those people, their job is to wake up and get out. This is going into the NPC thing and the God thing that Tony was talking about, brought up really great questions, and sparked my brain going. I feel like those disconnected people become NPCs, like you were talking about, Tony, where you said, I felt like I was an NPC because I was just going along with everything and totally unaware. But but to be a true NPC, I don't think that's what we are, obviously, but I think that's why the thing of the the thing in the arm, why it was so horrific to me, the thought of it, and to other people, like point of no return, no way, because that was going to disconnect us from the soul. And then we could become like an NPC type where we would forget and we'd just be. So when you were talking about that, Tony, it reminded me of the movie Free Guy, which I finally watched. And the NPC guy in there, his name's Guy, I think, he's walking around while cars are crashing and people dying and and he's like, la la la, it's a great day, you know, like oblivious, which just kind of reflects us. But the interesting thing was he was a true NPC, meaning part of the matrix, whatever, background person, whatever. So he could wake up in that movie, but he still couldn't leave. And there was also a cop in the movie. I think it was a black guy. I think he was a cop. I can't think of his name. Um, I think he ends up getting killed, but he comes back. He's like, oh, I was in this la la land, this, you know, like a false bliss place, and now I'm back in. But none of them ever leave the game because they're truly NPCs. The only ones that can leave that were the players, the people in the pod, or the, you know, to relate it to us, but the real players, they could shut the game off and then they're back in the real. So the only ones that can leave are the players, the ones still connected to the soul. So that's why I think we feel like we've got to take this down, because there's some people that got trapped and lost the connection to their soul in these previous resets. And we have to wake them up, because I really feel like if you wake up and choose to leave, I don't think they can hold you here. But without your connection to your soul, you forget all of that, like Tony was saying, and you kind of think like an NPC and just, oh, there's nothing wrong here. And you're not aware until like a truther comes on and starts saying some stuff. And then you're like, oh, so, driven to wake up. So I feel driven to wake people up, as a lot of you do as well. And I think that's why it's the key to leaving. And the movie shows you that you can wake up. So, and then the God thing came up. Why hasn't he taken this down? If it's been going for so long, why doesn't he come in here and take it down? And I think it's because it's not real to begin with. And okay, time passing, we've been here all this time, but time is part of this place. It's this repetition's not real either. This whole time thing's not real. I think of this place really as just a dot. So but I think the key thing, and I'm wrapping up, is the real can't exist in the false. So we claim our realness and recognize our own authority, then we remember we're real. This place is not. And we're not only batteries, but we're the perceivers. So if we keep saying, no, this is not what I want to see out here, I refuse it, it's forced to become real, or what we're demanding. And that because the real and the false can't exist at the same time. So if we're looking at a false world and we're saying, no, we want to see this, that means we're wanting to see something that's akin or likened to the real, and the two can't exist at the same time. So it's going to force things to change. And then I think because we're real, we'll just go back to where we really are, because we're not really here. That's one option of getting out. But the more we claim that this doesn't exist, you know, we are real, they can't exist. So this entity, it's impossible for you to attack me because you don't exist. I am real. Nothing here is real. So then you can't even read my notes. Sorry, I'm trying. They can't exist simultaneously, the false and the real. So that's why this works. So the more you can make this place not real. So through the pain body that we're talking about, the nerves and the pain and the trauma they cause us, what that does is it gets us to make this real because we emotionally react to this place. So that means we're playing the victim. That means we're the victim of this place, and the emotional reactions to it keep making it real. But if we start saying this isn't real, it doesn't exist, the more we do that, and don't give permission for what we're seeing, it weakens and it fades. That's all I got.
Okay.
That's a mouthful. It made no sense because I was trying.
No, that's great. No, because I can connect a lot of things to that. So in the movie
Good.
Free Guy, You had the NPCs, the ones who just did their daily job, didn't do anything. Then you had the main character, and then you had the controller of that character. So you had three different bodies there. So you have NPC, you had the sold character, which would be what's his name, Ryan Reynolds, and then you had the spirit, which would be the creator. So that would be your three body problem, and I can connect that to just like the Tron movie. If you guys have seen Tron Legacy, you had the NPCs that were like really dark and like partiers and just didn't care about anything. Then you had there was a girl character in there that the true creator set out to create, which was the sold character. It was the main character's like girlfriend by the end, and by the end they both get out together. So that goes back into what Mariah talks about, where the NPCs are truly from here. They cannot see anything, they won't question anything, and then you have the sold ones who are being controlled by them, not knowingly, because in some weird way, there's a connection between the spirited person like us and the souled person, and that's why I think when we say we're coming to save the souls, that's what we've part of what we're doing in taking this whole thing down. Because when we leave, what is true will go with us in the spirit.
So they're sold because they got disconnected either through a thing in the arm or some of these games at every reset they got separated
Yes, okay.
from their spirit. So they're not any
Yes.
different from us or less, but they just
Exactly.
lost the connection.
Exactly. They gave away at some point. And that thing in the arm, what I think it does personally, they're putting people in prison in France, I guess now for talking about it. But the thing that they're pushing everybody get, I think it amplifies what's already inside of them. So if like for my ex-wife, like when she got that booster, she had a stroke like the next day, completely different person. When I got this, I had two of them done, and this is just my opinion and for entertainment purposes only. This isn't, I'm writing a storybook, but for me, it jettisoned me to like wake up, dude. Like zoom. I'd already questioned stuff and I was looking for things, but it felt like it was an amplification for me personally.
Do you mind if I say what I saw when I looked at you?
Oh yeah, you see a big old ugly red
Did
devil?
you want me to? Well, I looked at your light body and your spirit, you were still connected to your soul and fighting it. And I'd not seen that before. So I was like, whoa, everybody else, the light body had flipped like a magnet, changed in structure, no longer connect. Because that's what this whole thing is get us all disconnected from the soul, keep the soul here like a battery, upload us into this meta or this next virtual or whatever. They named it meta, but whatever it's going to be, and then they can keep this running. But if we do the other, then they're screwed. So do you think, I don't know, I did not present that well, and I think if I would have drawn it, it would have been more clear, but my brain is not clear right now. But do you or anybody else think that we're creating our own timeline out of here, or we're just jumping out? Is it a mass exodus out, or is that a mass exodus back to the real and this place gets taken out? But I know you were saying, because I think that's the only part, well, I don't want to say the only part of Dolores Cannon stuff that rings true is the wave thing, mixed in with all the other, I don't know, disinfo or whatever. But you're saying it's going in sections or whatever.
Like a controlled demolition. It's a controlled demolition, and we are being, even though it feels like it's against us, it's for our benefit. That we are being, I don't want to say sidelined, but thrust out of what they call life here. Like for me, everything was taken within a couple weeks. Like I was trying to wake up, but I was trying to also play Matrix character. Like good wife, good kids, big house, good job. And it's like, okay, boom, psychiatric ward, homeless. Okay, where do I go? It was like, okay, I literally, it's like one of those warp tunnels in Star Trek or something. It's like, I didn't take 20 years to figure it out. It's like, I figured it out quick. If that makes sense. But I do think we're creating our own timeline, but it's not like I'm not sitting here visualizing that I'm going to be rich and be able to tell all these people this or write 1,000 books or. I think from a higher perspective, like in Angelique's book, she calls it the true Eve, like the true I am. And then we are the divine sparks down here. And those combined together is the wholeness that we are. That's the pair that they talk about. Like, as far as like being brought forth in pairs. So you are never alone, just like the true ineffable is. It's never alone with the mother and father within one. Carrie talks really well to that too. But I think that's who is orchestrating our exit for us. Okay, so if you think of those timelines, think of the higher self, the I am, being in a pod or whatever, like looping around, and then we're looping around here down here too. And as soon as it aligns, whoosh, we get out, and it's like straight out of this thing, like boom, 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 all layers. And then what that would then equal would be like dominoes. It would come crumbling down very quickly, and towards the end of it, it would be very quick. So when they do a controlled demolition, it's like, and it's over. And that's how this is happening.
Interesting.
That's how this is playing out. Sorry for my animation, but I get excited.
Well, I think it's the whole point is stay connected to your soul as much as possible, but it's this timeline split and then not going on either one of those because they're both loops and spirals. And even though one sound, the golden age, that sounds great. Okay, yeah, well, it'll at least buy us a little time while we're creating our own. That's what I think, because I don't know, but I don't know anything about the exit point that you were talking about, or I don't know if anybody else has thoughts. I'm going to take myself off screen and go lay down and just listen to.
I think that what you just stated is correct. I think that's exactly what's happening. We're creating it, but we're not creating it, if that makes sense. It's like a portion of you is creating it, being helped or facilitated by the other portion of you, which is not perceivable because we're where we're at. We're the lower right now, the lower nature, I would say. The higher nature knows that we want to come back. It's going to reach its hand down, and we're going to be pulled out of this thing instantly when that alignment comes, which is probably the event that they're worried about, which, the new age and all that crap, they have a weird phrasing for the event. But I think that event is the true exodus, the true rapture, to leave this place. So it's like we're doing everything that we're talking about. Like, when is it going to happen? It's all happening for us, and it's happening quickly. That's why the whole Agenda 2030 got pushed up to next year. And that ties into the Deagle report, which it says 90% decrease in U.S. population between 24 and 25. Well, 2025 doesn't really start till the spring. It doesn't start January 1st. So it's like all these things are lining up for us to help the others, to reach our hands out, horizontally to guide them, while the event that's coming is the higher self reaching its hand down to grab us all, and everybody's out at the same time.
Are we perhaps then have we already then split ourselves across all three multiple timelines, because we're really not operating in time? We're just keeping this place running until everyone gets out, like what Anne-Marie said in the past, which is why things are so convoluted at the moment.
I think that's right, Gordana, because I think it's a threshold. And I forget where I heard this before. I don't know if it was like, I think Anne-Marie spoke to it, or Lolita Caroli did at one point. But there is a threshold limit. Think about bugs under a bubble. Like once a lot of them know they can jump out of that bubble, it's not going to be able to contain them. It's like once that pressure builds, it's going to pop. Go ahead, Jonathan. I see you on there. I'll mute myself. Hope that answered it, Gordana.
Oh, no, I didn't have anything. I'm just listening. No, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, they want us to be in this state of worry, fear, anxiousness. And if you're not there, we'll put you in the depression, the guilt, the shame. It's like, okay, where we come from, we just are. We are just being. We're not oscillating this way or that way. We're creating, and everything is there. Like there's no. I like to use the word, it's all transparent. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
There's no wanting, and there's just
there's no lack
in the world, but not of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no lack whatsoever. Like if Here it's I got to find. I want to have a wife, or I want to have kids, or I want to have a career. No, it's everything there is of a way, and we just can't perceive it yet. Of no lack. Carrie calls it isness, which is crazy cool, but everything just is.
Yeah. So do you think that Deagle report and all this other stuff they have planned, that's part of the AI timeline and we're going to bypass that? So at that point, we're going to know, because March seems like a culminating point. We're going to know whether we're on the golden age timeline or the dark age timeline, and then hopefully like veering off of that even. But
It's I wish all my predictions would come true. I don't want to predict time frames, but it's funny that you say March because I feel like that's our march out of this place. Like we are marching home, like not taking any rabbit hole over here on the left or the right. We're saying screw all of this false duality bullshit. We're headed home. We know where we're from and we know who we are, and that's standing in sovereignty, complete sovereignty.
okay,
And
what
if it was
about
to be
those
a
of us that just go ahead?
No, I was just going to say really quickly, a more appropriate thing would be for it to be on March 4th, which happens to be my birthday, so that's why I know that.
There you go.
Oh, heck yeah.
But it's a command, you know what I mean? March 4th.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or May 4th. Sorry. May the 4th be with you. Well, what about those of us that are staying behind and having to keep this thing open? I mean, is there, I don't know.
I think
don't even know.
that's what we've been doing is holding space. I think we've been holding space for the others to play catch up and get out of their looping various rabbit holes to not like hey man, stop going down that route with the Kundalini awakening. Stop with the third eye crap. Like, is it working? Do you feel better? How's the semen retention going, Miss Female? Like, is it working for you? Because it's not working for me. Like, why?
I don't
why
know.
are
I
all
don't
the
have
little-
any semen.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit to keep us looking out there somewhere. And not to say that we haven't looked out there and researched other people's stuff, but these things just don't work. Like they don't. Maybe at one point they did and they were good in previous resets and they've been hijacked now to mean something different. But like
You talking about all the like new age
all those
stuff,
like you've seen that
fasting
book
at the right time and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, honestly, like I just don't believe it. Like, what about the people that barely ever get food? That are homeless and overseas and all that stuff. What about the kid that's like 17 and never had sex? He should have a lot of semen. Like it's crap. He should be like walking around in his light body, flying and saving everybody. Like it doesn't make sense. How do females do it?
Wait a minute. How did we get from exiting the matrix to semen? I'm just saying.
I had to make you guys smile. I don't. I just wanted to bring that up. But
I think it comes to an idea of willpower and being able to control yourself. So I think a lot of that stuff is like they didn't say that. They're like, ooh, if you just don't have sex and fight that off and blah 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 whatever. It's and it kind of goes to what you were saying, Gordana, a little bit about the emotional thing. It's and then that goes back to kind of what we said at the beginning of this thing about this body. I was saying in one of my shows that I did the other day, I was just talking with Rick and I was like, I'm done. I've already had all the sex and done all the drugs and I've ridden all the roller coasters and I've done played all the music. I've done everything that I feel like that my soul really wanted me to do. I went out and did it. And I was a hippie for a while, hippie type, right? And kind of a bum and whatever. I was a drug addict for a while. So like, I mean, there was payback or drawbacks to some of it, but now at this point I've gone through all that shit. I've let all that stuff go and I'm done. Like, so when it comes time to like leave, it's going to be a lot easier. I feel maybe not easy, but easier because I'm like, there's nothing here to excite me. Certainly nothing to get me to come back.
I can add to that too. I often get in these weird conversations. I think they're with NPCs or whatever, but they're like, have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? I'm like, I've done all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Had we not done all that stuff, we would still be seeking to do things here. But once you've experienced enough, you're like, there's nothing here for me but to go home and maybe help somebody else along the way that might be looping, if you will.
And time's not real, so not like where we actually are. It's just
not the way
we
it's
perceive
perceived.
it like this, right? So it's like,
yeah, I still think we're reviewing the game tape.
Yeah,
like this has already happened. It's already done. Here you are, player number 66. here's your play here. You could have tackled that guy better. You could have not been hit here, all of that sort of stuff. You made it. I'm counting on that. Like, there's no other reason I would have forgotten everything else and remembered this one if this wasn't the one to get out of here. Because there's this, it's just obvious once you see it that this place should not be, and we should not be here. And if we can't change it, we have to leave.
What do you guys think of deja vu then, in terms of looping and stuff? Is that like we're living the same thing, or is it
Okay.
memories, or
This
Here's
is
what
all his mind, right? Is hermetic. And sorry, Brandon, I'll let you
No.
get it. So all his
Mhm.
mind is all hermetic, and yeah, no, it happens like a computer program. So
Well, we've done this
So,
before. We've done it
well,
before.
I don't feel that I've done it before. I think what it is that this avatar has done it before.
Okay.
So these are like when somebody does a QHHT session and they look back at past lives. I'm like, I did a QHHT and they're like, oh yeah, you were a shoemaker in a past life. I'm like, I don't even like shoes. So
Maybe that's
I
why.
like my. No, it's like I think you're reading the avatar, like like you're reading its backup, its previous versions. You're not reading spirit. Like, I just don't think that we've been here that many times. And when it's deja vu, it's because you are now inhabiting an avatar from a spirit standpoint, and you made a different decision, and you catch a glimpse of you making a different turn than the avatar did last time when somebody else controlled it.
Well,
I've
just
had
to jump
deja
on
vu.
what you're saying there.
I've had deja vu where I've been able to predict the next one whole minute. It just hit me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Then this woman's gonna come up. Oh my god! And then this dude
So
says
think-
this thing, and then this
think
little
about-
kid walks in with a kite. Oh shit! You know what I mean? And I'm ahead of it even at that point. I'm watching all this shit play out, and I'm like, "Wow, dude, what the hell is that?"
That's
I
frequent flyers.
only had a
You know,
couple
they-
of those, but man, they were really. I could predict the next whole minute, and it's like not like I knew their words. I didn't know the words, but I knew like the colors and the. It's like a snapshot was in my head, really good snapshot, and it was crazy. So I don't know what the hell it is.
I feel like it's a
Deja vu.
combination. Oh, go ahead.
Isn't deja vu, this is my interpretation of it. Isn't it where the threads of the fabric of reality are overlapping, and it's like we are corrupting what the intended script would be, but it's like it doesn't know which scene to play out, so you kind of get that disjointed connection of both running congruently at the same time before it kind of jumps over and goes, "Oh, this is the one I need to be on," to play that out, and that's why you feel that
Yeah, it could be.
uncomfortableness.
I don't know. What do you think of this? Because I feel like some of it is like what Brandon's saying, where there's just this matrix script that's already here and we're remembering the script. But I also feel like when we have those deja vu moments, it's when they have implanted it in our dream state or while we're asleep. Here's what's going to happen tomorrow. Because I've heard that hive mind talking to me, bah, 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 bah. And I've even had dreams where I got in a car wreck and then 2 days later, so I hold on to the dream, and 2 days later, I'm in that exact same scene. And so I'm able to do something to avoid the car wreck. But I thought at the time, oh, it's a predictive dream, but I think it's a suggestive dream. I think they insert these events in, and I think maybe we have a memory of what's been getting programmed into us every single night. It's like, because sometimes when I have a deja vu, I'm like, wow, how did I know was I here before or did I dream this? And I think that's my key. I think I don't know. I don't know. That's just my thought on it. My most recent thought on what deja vu is. It's they're trying to make us run certain scripts. I don't know. Tony, what do you think about it?
Yeah, no, that resonates. That could be what it is. Yeah, implanting at night. To what end? I don't know. Just to mess with us or freak us out. I don't know. But I think in this arena, we talk a lot of looping. I mean, the fact that we keep coming back round lifetime after lifetime is a loop in and of itself in terms of the soul trick. So I'm just wondering, if that's they've got us on some kind of loop, or yeah, what that is. It's again, it's one of those questions that I've never fully got the answer to.
That makes total sense. Because when I've seen them put these inserts in our dreams, because I think we have a plan what we're going to do the next day, and they insert this car wreck to cause
uh,
trauma, and it's like a loop. Because we get pulled off our path onto this other path, or this person, like you were talking about, this love bite person comes in that was not supposed to be there. They insert them in the dream. You're going to be meeting this person and you don't even know you're getting programmed. And then here comes this person, you let them in. They're not even on your path. But and then they create a loop. You're stuck in a loop, right? You're in this freaking relationship you can't get out of, and then you're losing 6 months of your life or a year or more, and then you finally get out of it. So whatever you were supposed to be doing didn't get done. I don't know, or like you said, traumatize us. But it feels like they keep trying to put the matrix script into on our path where it doesn't belong, because I
yeah.
think we've got our spirit path, but I don't know.
I'm just wondering if we're living the same lives over and over again. Like, I know that's kind of a dark way of looking at it, but again, I explore all possibilities. I don't care if it's dark. I just want the truth, and I'm not saying that is the truth, but it's just something that, yeah, I think everyone gets confused by deja vu, and yeah, still trying to figure out exactly what's going on with that.
Yeah, that's totally a possibility too. That was my very original thought on deja vu. Oh, we've lived this before, and here's the loop. And that's totally possible too, because those past lives could just be inserted memories. Maybe we didn't live them. Maybe they're just implanted memories of all these lives, and then we keep reliving them and over and over and over. So those are all loops. And then we're like, oh, deja vu. Here we are in the loop again, doing this again.
Mm.
I think
Or
it's a combo
it's
of
part of
things.
the memory wipe that didn't take. Like
Could be,
little
yeah,
bits
like
were
Oh,
a
residual,
glitch.
and so you're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, damn, I've been here before," and you know what I mean. But it's a little different or whatever. And these are all, of course, just speculation. But
it's
oh, I
very
I've
like
also
that.
I've
black.
taken it a step further that everything that we're doing isn't even us, and we're the watcher, right? We're the watcher of the watcher. So even our thoughts, we're watching those thoughts at the soul level. At this level, we have no control. We think we do. Even that's been proven that, that we actually
Yeah.
move before we think we move, and it's a result. It's like the eschaton. We're not pushing towards something. We're being pulled, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, love it. Yeah,
Yeah,
the glitch. I like that. I
We're not
like
on the
that
outside of
too.
the earth; we're on the inside. That'll be fun for later days when we. I've just
That's
found
another
concave
dive,
bliss,
diving into
so it's
deja vu.
like, and that's more in the physical realm of this thing, but it's just intriguing to me.
I think maybe it all can fit together because it's just basically the matrix script. So if we're watching, we're living the matrix script. The deja vu or the programming at night is keeping us on the matrix script. And that's that split mind, where we want to be on the spirit script and the soul script. We're awake. We can say, no, we don't want to be on. But yeah, who knows, like you were saying, Dee, how much control we have over what's going on here. But I think the more we're in authority, the better. And just keep saying no permission, no permission.
Oh yeah, no, I own it. I know it may not be my fault, but it's my responsibility. I at least, and I'm glad that there's people like that, and that's why we're here, is that we care, we know it's going on, and we take responsibility for it, and we're looking for solutions here. We're not just
Yeah.
looking to sell. I mean, I love to sell my bit as a comedian or a musician or whatever, but no, we just have to be people, and I think it gets back to the tribal and the family thing that they're trying to break up. Is we need the small group, a soul group or something, to bust out of here. They do it in the movies all the time. Like, ragtag band of whoever is going to go and break the matrix, right? We have to do this. I don't think we have much choice on that, but
Yeah.
our attitude certainly helps,
I think
and
that would be an interesting
I
journey.
appreciate it.
Yeah. I think it'd be an interesting journey to go in and, okay, show me what happens during a deja vu and see if you get led and shown what's going on with it. I think that'd be something interesting to explore.
I do think that maybe, yeah, the whole implant thing. definitely resonates. That's the word that just came to me again when you were talking. Um, but I always want to go deeper. I'm like, for what end? What would be the benefit to them? You know, why? How would that benefit them to, yeah, give us that feeling? I don't know. So many questions still.
I don't think they're giving us the feeling of the deja vu. I think it's like maybe Jonathan said, where you wake up for a minute and remember, wait a minute, and they've programmed it into us to happen, and or it's part of the script. But then when you get that feeling for a minute, you're like, you're aware, you're awake, you're in your spirit mind, and you're going, wait, something's going on. I remember this. What's it? So I
Yeah,
don't think they're giving us that part of it.
Yeah.
but it's uncanny though, isn't it? It's like when you have those moments, it's like you really like everything that's going, you really feel that you've got a memory of that. It really happened. And I
Yeah.
mean, it freaks everyone out when it happens. So who knows what
What
fuckery.
if it's what if it's a way of your spirit recognizing the insertion that they want you to play out? So not necessarily that you've been there before, but that they're trying to make you live that like you have, like trickery or confusion, like the spirit of confusion.
Mm.
Because that's what they do. I posted a video in Truth Meter Tribe by Black Sheep Researcher that goes into deja vu a little bit. He does really good research, and there's like 30 different types of deja vu. So I haven't finished it. It's kind of a lot to think about. To your point, Tony, but I think take the time to watch it. Maybe we can discuss it at a later date. But I thought it was really, really good what I did watch.
I wonder what that word actually means if there's a translation. I know it sounds French, but I might have a little look while you guys are talking, see if I can find out if there's any hidden meanings in that word.
Well, think about it.
Yeah, that's
DE is what it's the, and then view you can look at it as vision, and in the astral, I hear that it's all French is the primary language.
Yeah,
So
I did that too.
if it's a view,
Deja vu means already seen in French.
there you go.
Excuse me for the
I think you're
question.
talking about the etymology
Yeah,
though,
the
aren't you, Tony?
etymology rather than the literal.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
No, it's all right.
Did you?
No, that's all right.
If you
That's
guys check out that video I dropped in Brandon's channel on Telegram, his name's Dan Alexander, and that dude, he had a near death experience, but then he also, I think he just had a moment where he was standing out in a field and he's screaming at God like, "What the fuck do you want me to do here? What is this about?" Like freaking out, and he got like his words were he was taken behind the matrix, and what he took back from it into his current avatar was like this understanding of language and like letters and the symbols and the numbers, and like he gets into it talking about there's a spin involved with them, and he's never gotten that deep with me yet because I'm like I'm just trying to keep up. And so he has a full lexicon of what each letter means, and then how they go together. He does names. He'll
Yeah,
take
that stuff
names
is cool.
and show you how your name is your sentence. Honestly, like so
yeah.
when your parents
It's
name
funny.
you,
I'm just looking the mainstream explanation, and they're saying it's the false sense that you've witnessed a situation before. So that means that the opposite, then, that we probably have witnessed it before.
yeah, right, exactly.
Right. Well, I think it's a really good point to bring up, Tony, because I think just us knowing that in that moment is a sign for us that we're not in something that's real. There's something off here. Like we've either been here before or that like there's something going on. So it's like a way to point that something's happening. But I know I've had a dream about like I had a dream about my nephew, and in the dream I'm thinking it's my nephew, but it doesn't really look like him. And I'm like, who is this person? And then the next day, as I'm at work, that kid comes in with his mom, and I end up becoming friends with them. And that took me on an entire detour loop, messed me up. I don't know how many years of my life. So I just feel like, yeah, there's something to all this. It's, And we've maybe a combo. We've done it before, but it's also the matrix script they're trying to insert. And we're recognizing it like, wait a minute, I've been here. What's going on? Or I've done this before. So, yeah, I think this needs a deeper dive for sure.
Mm. There's something very nefarious about it, I feel. uh,
Yeah.
just, yeah, I don't know.
Can I share something with you guys real quick to Jonathan's point about spinning? I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Inception, but the DiCaprio uses like this top, like the spinning top. If you can picture that, I'm gonna try and figure out how to post this picture into the group. But I had a yeah, send photo. Okay, that's the picture of the top. I have a friend. Her name's Amberly. She's got a channel called Transmuting Chaos, and she's got some interesting information that I think does need to be addressed. In that she took a photo out on like a gazebo with the sun coming through it at a corner spot and captured this picture that I'm getting ready to post. And if you look at that top and then think about the 12 dimensional structure, they say we're in the mind of God. These things start to correlate and have some meaning to them. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. But it's a very weird. It's like when you see it, you're gonna be like, "What the heck am I looking at?" So this one's the first one, and tell me if you see the alien with the third eye.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally. Holy crap.
And so I zoomed in to see it better, and I have a picture. Let me get it. It's a closer version of that, but you see the top spinning in there, and that gets into the whole flat
That's
Earth,
insane.
right?
Yeah,
Holographic reality. Here we are.
Yeah,
that's
you
def-
showed me
that's
that the other
definitely
day. It's Inception.
that's definitely
Cosmic
right.
cosmic egg.
Mhm.
And so when you get into, she talks about birthing a new aeon, which is interesting because there you go. Thank you. Um, in Angelique's books, I correlated because she talks about aeons as well, and I'm just going to throw this out there. There's a movie called The Eternals where this celestial being named Erishim is birthing from the Earth new celestials that create worlds and galaxies. And so it doesn't happen until the world gets to a certain threshold. Usually it's a negative threshold, but there are these beings called the Eternals that go and stop it from happening. And we've all seen the picture of that like eye in Las Vegas with the person with it opening up and a person shooting like a ray of light from its hand. It's like this stuff is so deep and it's in all these movies. It's just you have to be able to piece it all together. I show you guys these pictures just to kind of represent the whole idea of the mind of God, the dimensional structure of the what it might look like, and with the plane that we're on.
Yeah, this reminds me of the wormhole, how they wormhole into each virtual also.
Yeah, this would be
Um,
this is another version of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You know, it's got the spirals, it's got the eight, it's got the apple, it's got the Taurus field, it's got all of it. It's the same thing.
yeah.
So I thought that might be. I don't know if you guys want to talk about any of that or not because it's kind of creepy, but or different. But and it even looks like a flat Earth map in there. If you if you look really close at that last picture, it's crazy.
Yeah, but it also looks like a Luciferian cross.
It does. It does. I just saw this documentary on Netflix. I watched the first episode. It's called Raw El. It's about this alien prophet praising the Elohim from in like the 2000s and 90s that went around country and like he recruited this and that and he was going to make a thing for the Elohim to return to Earth. Have you guys seen this?
Uh-uh.
It's brand new to Netflix. It's very telling. It's the same thing. You know, it's the black and the white, the upside down cross, the right side up cross. It's got the in his little pendant that he wears. It's the Star of David or the Seal of Solomon with a Nazi cross in the middle of it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Mm.
Anyway, I won't go into all that stuff. I just thought that'd be some more food for thought for everybody to connect more stuff.
another question to the group.
Yeah, go
Um,
ahead.
it's something that is coming up so much. I know, Emery, you talk about them as well. Just about the pods. I've got so many questions about the pods. Um, I think they're definitely a thing at this point because so many people talk about them. They're in the Matrix. So are we saying there's like a an aspect of us that are basically outside in these pods that you talk about waking up? Has anyone got any more insights on these pods at all?
Kind of
I
think the ones I saw were still in the Matrix, but they were in the different levels or the virtuals. I haven't seen one outside, but I haven't really seen the outside, the real. I don't know if we can see it. I don't know. I've tried.
I've had a dream where I woke up out of one. It was weird. I was like in a metropolitan type of area, walking with my son down the street to the bigger city, and all of a sudden it was like the Inception movie where the world like caves in on itself, where it's like an upside and a right side up, like a city, and it looked like a film strip. Like all of a sudden, it went from that like collapsing in on itself, and then I could feel like my head looking at like a one of those curved TVs. It's like a half a circle, and it rolled up like a scroll. And I said, "I'm done with this. I'm out of here. No, thank you." And then all of a sudden, it went from that picture to like a wormhole type thing from like the show Sliders or something or Star Trek. And then I saw a pod, and in that pod, I got out and I looked around and I saw all these other pods, but there was nobody else. That was out before me. I was the first one out, and then all of a sudden they started popping out. But nobody was hooked up to anything. So imagine you're in like one of those soundproof beds, and they use frequencies to inject to your temples that would keep you under a hypnostasis or a hypnosis. I know this sounds crazy. I know it does. And I went to like a classroom, and then it cut to black. I woke up and I was like, "What the hell? I'm rebuked. I'm done. I don't want any more of this place. I'm out of here." Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this thing reminds me of like kind of like the toroidal or the wormholing, and this would be a virtual, and then they wormhole down into the next virtual and the next, and they line them all up like dominoes, and we get buried in these things. And I don't know if this is right, but I kind of feel like the pods are in each one of these where we're playing a game and then we're into the next virtual and into the next. And I've seen those pods as you start to bring back pieces of yourself, those pods lined up near the edge of this place to get out. Like, I think it's just another way of splitting us up, but I really don't even know what I'm talking about right now. That's something that needs to be explored as well.
Yeah, that's why I asked because I've been trying to do some research on them, and yeah, they definitely seem to be out there. There's too many people that talk into them. They're showing us in movies. I'm just trying to understand like what they are, what we're doing in them. Just trying to dig deeper in terms of understanding them on a deeper level.
I
Yeah.
think that it's
I think they're
It might
part of
be
the
a
Matrix for
metaphor.
sure.
It might be a
Mhm.
metaphor for just a different type of a different way, a catatonic state that we're in, or some sort of like a different type of technology that we're in. It seems odd to me that we would be in pods.
Because they're in,
I'm not saying it can't be, and I'm not saying I don't,
but
go
they
that way.
tell us
Like, but it
in
just seems odd.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
In the film Avatar, they're in those pods
They
as
are
well.
in those pods in Avatar
They're
too. Yeah.
projecting their consciousness into that realm. So there
It,
does seem to be
Mhm.
something in that.
It's just like that
Yeah.
movie. Sorry, I apparently watched a lot of movies. Minority Report with Tom Cruise, where these people go in these pods to have an experience as like a billionaire or a basketball player.
Is that
So that's what.
Minority Report?
Yeah, where there's like three beings that can see the future, and so therefore they predict the crimes, but then he
Right.
tries to change it because yeah.
There's
That's
another
my.
movie then too, where the dudes they all live in pods.
Well, what do you think the med beds are? That's what they're making med beds. Like these in China, there's pictures of these like
Yeah, right. I
containers
recall.
that are med beds. So you go into these chambers. I mean, who's to say they don't do a freaking false flag alien invasion? You think it's Jesus, you go to the ship, they put you under, you have no idea what's going on, but you've been promised an upgrade. Angeliki's book talks about this too. These transformation boosts or pods, and they ship you to a different realm like China, and put you in a container, and you're just like a feeding tube for them. Like you become Borg.
Yeah.
Those med
Yeah,
beds,
that could be what I'm seeing. All
those
these pods in each virtual. That could be what I'm seeing. Maybe at the end of every reset, they stick us in a pod. Go ahead, Tony. I was going to add on to your avatar thing, but
no,
go
it's all
ahead.
right. So you're talking about the med beds there. A lot of new agers are talking about med beds at the moment. I get the heebie-jeebies when I hear that word med bed at the moment.
Yeah,
Me too.
The whole
yeah, agreed.
the spidey senses start tingling.
Yeah, agreed. I think what I saw was a pod, and I thought, oh my God, is this in the real? But I'm with you, Jonathan. It seems too weird for us to be in pods in the real. I think anywhere we're in a pod, it's in here on one of these layers or levels. But I saw a pod similar to kind of the Avatar idea. I haven't seen a lot of movies, but I did see that one. And it was connected to her, but the only way I found it was because I woke up with the sentence in my mind, there's a cube around us. You need to look, there's a cube around each of us. And that usually comes from my soul. It's usually or my spirit. That's usually something I'm going to forget really fast unless I write it down. It's like something that makes it through all the fog. And so I looked at her light body and I saw the cube. And when I removed that, I saw the other geometric shapes. I think I saw the what do you call
Merkaba,
that? Merkaba, thank you, that you travel
which
in.
is
And then
which is two triangles crisscrossed onto each other, like submerged into each other, and then you saw the atom, what looked like the atom, and then you saw the cube. Those are the three you mentioned.
yes. And then when I removed the geometry around her, I was able to see the connection from her to her over in this pod. And I was like, oh my God, where's this pod? But it was still in the virtual universe. So it was part of the false. I
Mm-hmm.
really don't think we're in pods in the real, but I don't know. We could be, I suppose. But the Aeon player of the game, Aeon being the god of eternal looping time, that is also, I was getting that was my player, and I'm sure a lot of other people's player for maybe all of us for this particular game. That was also in a pod, but I never went further to explore. But the idea of a pod just gives me the sense of maybe every reset they're putting us into the next virtual, and we do actually go into a pod. I mean, China wants to like, I don't know, do they want to take over everything? Who knows? But
Mm-hmm.
and which entities are they, AI entities are they working with? Which race?
Mantis.
Um, probably. So it's like we get put in these, I don't even know what I'm saying, seriously, but I just feel like it's part of what goes on here because this is kind of like a game, and that's what pods are kind of like.
I'm going to ask you a question about that. When you've seen those, Anne-Marie, is it like the cube? I would imagine is around the head, and then I would imagine the atom being at the heart, and then I would imagine the Merkaba being at the red. What is that root chakra?
Okay, that's a possibility. I saw it all the way around the entire body, each one
Okay.
like
Yeah,
an
your
overlay,
Merkaba
but
is
that's
your
actually maybe on a more micro level that's happening also. They're using more of that. That's an idea to look for more to remove so we could see clearer.
I
so
think that's because
I've
that's your
always
red, green,
understood
blue.
the Merkaba to be your light body.
No, I feel
Mm-mm.
that's like a matrix thing. I've seen those cubes and those that sacred geometry stuff as well, and it for me it all just needs removed. It's all like matrix stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it's an overlay, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
May I
Oh,
add
look at that.
something?
Look what he's showing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
There's Jesus on the cross.
There it is around us. That was one of the layers. Yeah,
Right.
they put a Merkaba around us, but it was all underneath the cube. I kind of
May I
have
add?
a similar thing to what I saw. Go ahead, whoever's, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Uh,
I'm going to try to find a
no, that's
picture
okay.
here.
Yeah, this is Ether. Actually, my name is Heather, but I was thinking about what you guys are just saying here, and Lucy, aka Dark Mystic 9, shared an experience on one of her videos where she took some sort of cube device off of her like her head, and then she was able to see more clearly. And I cross-referenced that with experiences that I've had with ocular migraines um, throughout my life, or fainting spells, where there's a moment where I start to see like this crystalline diamond kind of like light, shards of light around things and in my eyesight. And I feel that that's a glimpse into what's beyond, what's encasing our mind. And so, because when the brain like malfunctions, quote unquote, or has a glitch, like during a seizure or a migraine or something like a psychedelic experience, that part of the brain shuts down, and then we're able to see beyond that physiological veil. So that's how I'm able to see like the crystalline lights when I have a migraine, because part of my brain's not working, and then it's like lifting, and then I can see that like there's something like a prism, that frequency is tuned to and from like a receiver, and then depending on how the lights go through the prism is how we perceive maybe our reality. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I wanted to share that.
I'm going to jump in real quick. The my understanding on the brain is that it obviously is physical, but it is so that it will interpret the signals that are being sent here, or that are coming from, or whatever the deal is with the signals, but it's so that we can interact within this realm. So we don't have a physical brain at the different other
Right.
bodies with our etheric body or our astral bodies, or other things of that nature. And so that would make a lot of sense. And then Anne Marie, I was wondering when you were talking, uh, a passage in Genesis came to my mind, because the stars that were in this alleged story of creation in the first chapter are different. It's a different word that is used in, as opposed to the word lights. And the lights were uh, placed into the firmament, which to me sounds like a captivity or something. And so now I'm wondering, because I know that they have split us numerous times, and I'm wondering if that may have been where we were first split, and then our higher essence, to me, is my um, I don't like the word divine, but uh, fire, flame is, and the spark then that inhabits at the lower levels were split up on a vertical realm. And so I'm curious now, if you're not seeing past a certain level, I'm just wondering if not those would be, that may be where our higher self, I don't know about that word either, but I don't know what else, other words to use. But I know that I talk to mine all the time. It's nothing outside of me. It's hard to explain, uh, but I know she is captive and held somewhere. But and I think that's the hand, as even Brandon and I have talked several times about, that reaches down. You've got to have a person on the outside to assist someone breaking out from the inside. And so I'm curious to tie all of this in together. The vision that popped in my head was that the pods contain those lights, which is the only word they can use to describe something that is so far beyond anything they could dream of. But they had to hold that captive somewhere, and that some of that energy may indeed be influencing the spark that was severed off of that. As Zeus said, I will split them to make them weak. And every time they have split us, has weakened us, just like they're working on doing now with the frequencies, and further bringing in the splitting and the breaking down to further that. But anyway, I was just seeing the pods in in that firmament, not the firmament we see. This is one way, way above, of a way finer, higher energy structure, something that we couldn't even see with our eyes. So I don't know if that resonates with you or not, or if I even make sense.
Well, several things. Yeah, because when I saw the app, man, I agree with you. I felt like Because I was like, well, am I out? No, I felt like my real self and the reel had to extend a hand then and pull me the rest of the way into the reel. You had to have like that final step or help. I don't really know if that's accurate or not, but that's what I saw. As far as the stars, I got real clearly that they were hung. The stars were hung. So that fits with what you're seeing in the Bible. But I've been wondering what that means, or what does it mean to be hung? Is that part of us up there? Because there's so many layers to this. I've even seen above us like a movie set, like canned lights and fake stars, and then are these other stars beyond that? I don't know. There's so many layers to make it so confusing. Um, I think there's more meaning, yeah, like you're saying to this, like the stars. How did it say in the Bible the stars were
They're two
placed
different
or
things. It says first that the lights were made, and the lights were basically embedded into the firmament at some level, and it's at the very beginning, way back or whatever. And then the stars were made later, and there are fixed stars, and then the rebel stars are the wandering stars, which we call planets. And then to talk about what you're talking about, the pinhole light, I really think that when I was a kid 60 years ago, I could lay out in the front yard and the stars were far away, the moon was far away. They didn't look like you could see shadows on them and all kinds of stuff. I take a lot of pictures. I did for a while outside. Um, the sky is closer now than what it was, even 20, 30 years ago. It's like they dropped it another level. And how I have proof for that is out here when people used to burn their pastures off, the smoke during a high pressure weather system would rise 10, 20, 30 miles straight up in the air. And you could see it for 50, 60 miles away. They no longer do that. It goes up about what looks about 5 miles high, and every time it will do a 90-degree angle turn one way or the other, depending on which way the upper level winds are blowing. The second proof is that these flat bottom clouds that we have that will appear under certain conditions, they don't go below that level of where the bottoms of them are flattened on. And that is much lower than what it was growing up. I don't really remember flat bottom clouds. And so
do you
we
think
just,
it's we're in the next virtual and and it looks different? I don't know.
I do. I think it's all frequency. I think that's another frequency fence they've got around us. They're trying to prevent our escape. And I think that is part of their herding devices that they're going to be using or are already. So, I mean, we talk about the 15-minute cities, and my understanding is in Britain, they're already implemented, and you get signals of when it's safe to go out and not, and you have to have permission to go and things like that. So, I know in Agenda 2030, the allotment for the land space is 50% of the land space will be wilderness area, 25% of the land space is dedicated to the 15-minute cities. The other 25% of the land space is dedicated to connective corridors.
Mm.
They need the wildlife areas so they can let do their hunting parties, is my opinion.
Yeah, great thoughts there. I gotta exit. Sending tons of love to all of you.
Sorry for Glynis. She just
Thanks,
is now
Tony.
getting...
Thanks, Anne Marie.
Thanks, Emery.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Yeah,
Thanks for having
Thank you
me.
guys.
absolutely. I was gonna say before everybody started leaving that I do a radio show on Revolution Radio. So anybody that wants to talk, right? Like I'm down. So we can just meet through Journey Points Home Telegram. And if you want to come on and talk about some of this stuff on a 2-hour radio program that's on Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m., I'm happy to have anybody on that wants to talk about this. So
Yeah, more of these are needed.
Yeah.
I feel like this has been
and
this has
you
been
come on
awesome.
a lot and we
Absolutely.
talk about stuff, and so yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there in case anybody. So we
Yeah.
can do this more, and I'd be willing to we can do roundtables too. It's through Skype. So I mean, I can have 5 or 6 people on. So
That'd be great.
yep, and it's
Cool.
live.
Just send
It's
your
live,
send
and then
your
I record
invites
it and I put
through
it out like a podcast. So
that Telegram, and that's great. That's
yep.
easiest for me. I don't
Yeah, I
don't
know it
have
is.
too
It's
many
easiest for
channels I follow, you know.
right, and I like Telegram just because you can drop big videos and shit in there. It's just
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
it's really the best place that we have right now, I think. But anyway, so
I agree.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
think everybody should look into concave Earth. I really think it answers a lot of shit. I understand the flat Earth thing, and I've looked into that. Have you looked into that very much? Have you gotten through the video at all, Brandon?
I haven't. I've just been busy with all kinds of stuff. But
let me just say that I think flat Earth is necessary because it gets you to understand it's not a globe.
Mhm.
And then
It's an ancillary sphere.
but when yeah, so we're literally on the inside of the globe, and they've
Yeah.
actually got a physical, real life test that hasn't been debunked. That when it was being done, it was surrounded by people that were trying to debunk it while it was happening, and it literally just proves that the ground curves up at the same distance that they tell us, mind you, that it curves down. So there's that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't even finished the full 6-hour thing, but the presentation of the concept of it gets put out pretty well.
Okay, don't wrap your head around it. It wraps around your head.
Yeah, it's interesting. He has a
Love it.
computer-generated model in there of what it would look like if the glass was removed from the sky, which is our
Mhm.
lenses, which is why we see shit the way we see it. And that CGI moment is so cool. It looks like some shit out of Dune, dude. You're just like, what the hell, dude? It's just, and then it makes you realize that yeah, we see everything. We are in an absolute funhouse of refraction.
It makes me
Some
think
of
of
it.
an inverted soccer ball and like all the black pieces or
Oh yeah.
all domes, and that ties into Martin's thing, and it also ties into the cosmic egg. It ties into the plasma, and it ties into these what was the
And
other
all the
one?
land outside of the flat Earth with all the
Yeah,
other
it
bubbles,
ties those
and,
things
and
No,
we
but
are
together.
cells on an animal, a huge
fits.
animal,
This
and
would
all of that.
basically
Yeah,
be
yeah.
cell theory. I mean, concave Earth. So it's the whole Earth, and so that would be my question to him: is like, well, what's past the what I what I think of right now is past the ice wall. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it seems like to me. So he does show flight routes. He shows all the things, and like I said, I haven't gotten all the way through it, but it answers a lot of things that flat Earth couldn't answer, and that the globe
Good.
clearly can't fucking answer.
See,
'cause
but
it's
I don't want to
fucking
go to
out.
the edges. I want to go down the middle. I want to see what's happening at the North Pole
At
when
the
this thing
north.
ends,
That's
man.
right. That's where I
Yeah.
want to go. Yeah, me too. I want to
It
go.
sounds like a big like cancer cell, like a big cyst.
What,
Oh,
the
yeah.
north, the black rock.
No,
Yeah.
no, our big firmament dome is a big zit on somebody's
this, yeah,
face.
right, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
We came in
All
to try
right.
to pop it, and then we got entertained by all the fun little side
Oh,
routes
yeah.
that were in here. Hey, look, did you know you could do this? It's like, yeah, dude, get your head on. We're fucking blowing this shit up and getting out.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. This has been awesome. Thanks, Gordana. Thanks, Jonathan, for all your help. Good to see everybody. And
It's
we'll
great
try
to
and do
meet
nice
you,
to meet everybody,
Gordana,
yeah,
and
and say hi,
I
for sure.
appreciated Anna and Tony. It was great. Thank you, Brandon. I will
You're
talk
welcome.
with
Brandon.
you. Talk
Nice
with
to
you
meet you,
more.
Gordana. And yeah, if you want to come on the radio show anytime, just like I said, we'll all be. And a lot of you people never spoke, and that's cool too. But if we do, if anybody wants to come on a radio show and talk about this, because I just want to hear more. I only can come up with so much shit, and I haven't read all the books and everything, so I just like to hear other people's versions of things because that
We
actually
definitely
makes my
have
mind
to
go
do
better than
something,
reading stuff.
Jonathan. We
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah, that'll
have
be
to do
great.
something.
For sure.
All right, guys, have a great
Let's
Saturday.
That'll be great.
Oh,
Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for joining.
Thanks
Pleasure
for
to meet you
setting
all.
this up, Brandon. Yep. Take
Thanks,
care.
Brendan.
Yep.
And
See you
thanks for
guys.
hosting, Jonathan. We will talk to you all soon.
Yeah, see you, Jonathan.
Aloha.
Ciao, everyone. Bye.